Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into a module designed to unlock a literal superpower for 8th graders, or really anyone wanting to seriously level up how they read, learn, and experience the world. We're talking about awakening that built-in movie director that lives right inside your brain. Let's get right into it.
So, the source material kicks things off with a great question. Have you ever watched a movie inside your own head? Think about that for a second. The curriculum suggests that reading shouldn't just be staring at boring black ink on a blank page. Instead, it frames reading as being exactly like directing a massive blockbuster film in your mind, where you get to completely control the vivid details. You're casting the characters, building the sets, and calling all the action.
To ground this lesson, the source material utilizes a quote from Philippians 4:8, which says, "Fix your thoughts on what is true and honorable and right and pure and lovely and admirable." The curriculum's crucial point here is that our minds are incredibly powerful tools. It argues that what we choose to focus on and what we picture in our mind's eye shapes our entire experience. In this framework, this deeply applies to how we read, what we learn, and ultimately, the kind of people we become.
Now you might be wondering, why does this visualization superpower actually matter? Well, the text explains that when you visualize what you're reading, you aren't just memorizing dry facts, you're actively engaging your senses. And doing that dramatically strengthens your memory, your understanding, and your emotional connection to the material. You aren't just reading the word forest. If you do this right, the material suggests you can almost smell that sharp, fresh scent of pine. You can hear the distinct, satisfying crunch of dry autumn leaves beneath your boots. It's got making reading a truly vibrant experience rather than just a chore.
So, what will we learn from this module today? First, turning text details into mental images. Second, improving comprehension. And third, using all of your senses, not just sight.
Moving into Section 1, the Let's Dive In technique.
The text breaks this down into the exact mechanics of creating vivid imagery. Step 1, don't just blast through the paragraphs. Stop reading to create a mental snapshot. Basically, hit pause for just a second. Step 2, ask yourself sensory questions. What would this scene look like, sound like, smell, feel, or even taste like? And step 3, if you need a boost, draw quick sketches in your margins or jot down a few highly descriptive words. The curriculum emphasizes that whether it's a thrilling story, a poem, or a dense history article, these 3 simple steps really anchor the information in your brain.
Next up, Section 2, visualizing different text types.
Let's look at an example setting the text provides. The waves crashed against the rocks, sending salty spray into the air. Now, for a passive reader, the eyes might just glaze right over those words. But as a mind's eye director, the curriculum encourages you to instantly imagine that jagged, dangerous rocky coastline. You should try to hear the booming, thunderous crash of the ocean and practically feel the cold, stinging, salty spray misting right onto your face. See the difference there? It literally drops you right into the scene.
The source also uses a fast-paced action sequence. He darted through the crowded market, dodging carts and leaping over baskets. The advice here is don't just casually read it. Feel the adrenaline. Picture the erratic, incredibly quick movements. Visualize the bustling, noisy stalls shouting over each other. See the bright, colorful goods blurring past as the character leaps and weaves through the chaos. It's all about being actively in the scene.
Interestingly, the curriculum points out that this visualization hack works perfectly for informational texts too. Take a textbook sentence like, "Water evaporates, forming clouds before falling back to Earth as rain." Sounds a bit dry, right? Typical textbook stuff. But by activating your mind's eye, you visualize the invisible heat of the sun pulling the water up into the sky. You watch the fluffy white clouds gathering, swirling, and darkening, and then you see the heavy raindrops plunging back down to the soil. You've just fully animated the water cycle in your brain. And you know, you're definitely not going to forget that for a science test now.
Now for Section 3, test your visualization skills.
The module presents a homework challenge here, but frames it not as a chore, but as an empowering challenge to flex those newly built mental muscles. It lists 5 mission objectives to conquer. 1. Explain why visualization actually helps comprehension. 2. List out the specific senses you can use. 3. Create your own example of a sentence that perfectly triggers the sense of sound. 4. Explain how you'll use this hack for informational texts. And 5. Take a recent book you've read and draw or describe your absolute favorite mental image from it. It's a really practical way to lock in the concepts we've covered.
Finally, Section 4, Education, Morality, and Peace.
In this final section, the Heroesmartacademy Godly Learners series zooms out to contrast 2 broad paths for students. First,
The curriculum argues that education without morality can easily lead to bad choices that ultimately hurt individuals and the people around them. It essentially asks what the purpose of being highly educated is if it lacks a foundation of kindness and positive values. The alternative presented is education with biblical morality, where the text suggests combining that sharp intelligence with the wisdom to make uplifting, positive choices.
To wrap up, the curriculum concludes with a promise from Romans 8:6-7, which states that peace of mind comes to everyone who keeps their mind spiritual. The source material emphasizes this as a core philosophy, encouraging readers to focus their growing intellect on what the text defines as good, spiritual, and true. So, as you think about directing the movies in your own mind this week, applying these visualization tools, the underlying question this module leaves us with is, what kind of story will you choose to tell yourself? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.